So let me share with you the pylons that you should be driving down into the ground so that the foundation of your business doesn't go anywhere.
Welcome to Success Unleashed, Beyond the Job Site, the only podcast created to help contractors win in business and in life. And now your host, Garrett Bake.
Welcome back to the Success Unleashed podcast. I'm your host, Garrett Bake, filling you in with all things tips, tricks, and life lessons when it comes to being a better contractor and a better person. I want to share with you a story from a couple of weeks ago. I was visiting one of my clients. He's a trim carpenter, and I went up to one of his job sites. Now, it's up in the mountains in this beautiful resort community. It took me about an hour and a half to drive up there. I'm going up through the hills. I mean, absolutely beautiful. Still snow-capped mountains, but everything was green. And I mean everything from the edge of the road up to the mountains. Super green. It was one of the most beautiful things I'd ever seen. I finally make it up to where this house is at, and it's up on this hill in this little private community. Now, as I get out, I look, the house is actually down. So it's got this pretty steep driveway going down to where this house is. Now, mind you, the house is overlooking a lake, the mountains on the other side of the lake. I mean, it was in a beautiful spot. And as I'm going down, I notice to the right that there's a couple of big tractors working, and they're moving a ton of dirt. I'm like, man, I don't know what they're doing, but this is going to take a while because they're moving it back to the front side of the house. So I go inside and I meet with my client, Tyler. We start talking about, some of the stuff he's working on inside the house. And he's showing me the different floors, the basement, the first level, and then up above. And we're walking through, and he takes me to this one bedroom where he's building these custom built-in bunk beds. And I peer out this window towards the back of the house. Now, mind you, the deck hasn't been built yet. They're still in the finishing phases of the house. And I go to look out the backside, and I'm like, there's something wrong with the backside of this house. And he's like, yeah, there is. And I walked up to the window and looked through the window and realized that all of the foundation, the soil of the house had washed away. In fact, you could see up underneath this house. And I looked at him and I asked him, is it safe for me to be standing right here in this room right now? Or are we going to fall down this hillside? And I started laughing. He said, no, we're fine. And he said, look underneath that other window, the window on the far side of the house. And so I got my phone out and took a picture and I zoomed in. And I realized that there was a pylon there going down still into the ground. Now, mind you, it was exposed 2 or 3 feet in some places, but I could see this pylon, and behind it I saw another pylon. And he goes, there's 38 pylons that are going down 40 feet into the soil, 40 feet. He said, this house isn't going anywhere. And it was a very powerful statement for me, right? Because here I am looking at this house, wondering if it's going to fall off the edge of the hillside, which I'm sure the homeowner was at some point as well. But because they'd constructed it right with these 40 pylons or 38 pylons going down 40 feet, the house wasn't going anywhere. Now, there was a lawsuit with the excavator because he didn't backfill properly. Different story. But the house wasn't going anywhere, right? And I started thinking about business and how often we're moving from one shiny object to the next shiny object to the next shiny object and back and forth and back and forth. It's like chasing that high, right? Today it's super fun to go sell. Tomorrow it's super fun to go be on the job site. The next day it's fun to collect a paycheck, right? And we're constantly bouncing back and forth. The problem with that is we're not actually building a business with any kind of structure, with any kind of support. And so eventually what's going to happen is this business is going to fall apart, right? If you don't have a solid foundation, it's going to erode. And the wind and the water and the rain, whatever it is that's coming your way, it's going to wash this thing away. And what are you going to be left with? Well, nothing. So how do we avoid that? How do we avoid building a company that is built on a shaky foundation? And I'll tell you that it's really hard. Right? Taking a pylon and driving it 40 feet into the ground is not easy. Doing it 40 times, less easy. But it's that requirement that's necessary to build the foundation that your business is going to need. You've heard me talk a lot about processes and systems. You've heard me talk a lot about people, marketing, and all these different aspects of a business. But what I want you to see is there's a repeatable pattern when it comes to success. There's a repeatable pattern on what works and what doesn't work. Number one, who are you as a business? You know exactly what I'm talking about. There's roofers who call themselves contractors instead of roofers. There's people who call themselves general contractors when they're actually handymen. There's people who call themselves remodelers when all they do is kitchen and bath, right? And we become these walking generalities. The problem with walking generalities is you'll never be known as the guy or the girl that does the thing really well. Who are you? See, I struggled with this when I first started. Why? Because I feel like I can help everybody, whether you're starting off or you're doing 20 million a year. And mind you, I've worked with companies that have just started out or doing up to 50 million a year. That's right, the big 50. I've worked with companies at different levels, but I've also experienced frustrations at different levels. And what I have to come to terms with is that there's a very particular client that I want to work with. There's a very particular client that I can expose my entire arsenal to and add massive value to. And that's a company that's creeping behind or up above 2.5 million plus. It's the reality of the situation. You're doing 500,000 a year. I could teach you how to build out an entire team, but you're not ready for it. You're doing 750 a year. I could show you how to create a sales team, but you're not ready for it. You're doing 400 a year. I could show you how to systemize your marketing, but you're not ready for it, right? All of these things you're not ready for. It's not a good or bad thing. It's just the reality. And so I had to be comfortable with becoming the guy that does a very specific thing. People, processes, systems. That's my jam. You want to learn marketing at a deep level? Cool. Go find a marketing person. You want to learn sales at a deep level and overcome objections? Go find a salesperson. You want to learn your financials beyond just understanding a P&L? Go find that guy, right? I'm not that guy. Now, in all fairness, I've accumulated a team that has those guys. But again, at a deeper level. So what are the pylons that you need for your business to be able to be secure, right? That you can drive down 40 feet into the ground. Number one, again, who are you as a business? Number two, who is it that you're marketing to, right? Who is it that you're serving? Get very specific on it, okay? Number three is your people. The hardest thing you'll ever do is build a team. The hardest thing. Because you're going to want to love on them and care for them, and you're going to want them to be part of the family. And they're going to turn around, they're going to stab you in the back. Now, I get it. You're probably looking at me going, oh, no, my team would never do that until they do. Yes, I get it. Some of you guys have figured it out, and you got your folks. But you know exactly what I'm talking about because you've gone through that process. Your team. Build a team. Build a solid team. How do we build a solid team? Well, it's built on you, right? It starts with you. Who are you as a business? We talk about core values and culture. What are your core values? Some of you guys just went to Google, typed in core values, found some core values that looked really cool and added them to your business. Congratulations. That's not who you are, right? At your core, who are you as a business? So for example, our core values, number one is have fun. Why? Because I love to have fun. And I want you to have fun too. And I want to be an environment where we work hard, but we have fun. Because number two is, that's right, do the work. Life can be as easy or as hard as you make it, but regardless, the work's got to be done. Number three, go the extra mile. I believe in serving those around us. I believe in going above and beyond. And number four, do the thing you said you were going to do. It's not my responsibility to tell you what to do. My responsibility is hold you accountable to the thing that you said you were going to do, right? But those are my core values, and that allows me to attract people who think like I do, who care about the things that I care about, right? And ultimately build that team. Number two, your processes. How do you do the thing that you do? How many different ways are there to shingle a roof, or to lay down sprinklers, or to paint a wall, or to frame a house? There's lots of different ways. But what's your way? In fact, everything that you do has to be your way. Everything from your marketing to your sales approach, to how you're doing your work, to how you're following up, to how you're billing on the back end, to how you're hiring, how you're running your finances, everything has to be done the same way. And so when we talk about a business that grows, you have to have those systems in place, those processes in place. Because if you don't, guess what? The wind, the rain, whatever comes, the foundation of your business is going to go sliding away. Number 3, okay, we talked about your team. We talked about your systems, okay? Number 3, and the most important, is you. Right now, your business depends on you. Even if you're doing $20 million a year, your business depends on you. But what are you doing so that it doesn't depend on you? What are you doing to make sure that you're taking care of you? Because whether you realize this or not, your business treats you like a bank account. Your employees, same thing, right? And you know what I'm talking about. You go to that ATM. We've all been there. Go to the ATM, rubbing your hands together, saying a little prayer, slide your car in, punch in your code, and your magical button, the balance. If the number's negative, can you withdraw any money? No, you can't. You can try all day long, but you can't, right? You have to have money in there to withdraw it. So if your business is going to withdraw money from you, if your people are going to withdraw money from you, if there's nothing in there, they can't withdraw anything, right? You have nothing to give. You've all had those days, those weeks, those months. So you got to take care of you first, right? How do you take care of you first? Well, you put yourself first. There needs to be a schedule for you. What are you doing to take care of yourself in the morning? What does your morning routine look like? Or you just get up, phone calls, emails, text messages, a donut, out the door you go. Good luck sustaining that. What are you doing to take care of your family? That's right, the very people that you said you started this business for. What are you doing to take care of them? Right? And then what are you doing to take care of your people inside of your business? As much as you like to think that they're there for you, they're not. They're there for themselves. So how do you make them feel appreciated and wanted and ready to come back for more? That's not my responsibility. That's not your client's responsibility. That's yours. Now, I'll tell you, if you can build your foundation on these things, you'll have a business that will stand the test of time. Your people will stick around. You'll be able to do jobs more consistently and ultimately more profitably, and you'll be able to scale and grow to the level that you want to. Now, listen, you can take this podcast, you can listen to it, you can give it a little like, appreciate you, put a little comment down below. Love you. But at the end of the day, if you don't do anything, none of it matters. So now's your chance to take what you learned and go do something about it. All right. You know what time it is. It's time to get after it. 3, 2, 1. Off you go. Thanks for listening to the Success Unleashed podcast. Before we go, show some love for your favorite podcast by liking, subscribing, and leaving us a review. Until we see you again, it's time to get after it. 3, 2, 1. Off you go.